Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Right, so now we do have these Valentine's Day offers, and there is a very great offer for 3000 units where you can get basically a Roman 6-star awakening gem, and you can get 20 Roman 6 stones as well. Now this is not the exact list that crystal contains, but I use this basically because it contained most of them. Either way, back to the point. So the entire point of this video is because I already know that a ton of people will ask me which champions do I think, should be awakened with these, and whether, it's worth for you to get it and stuff like that. So this entire video is going to be 10 best champions I personally believe to use that Romance Awakening gem on. So we're going to start from spot number 10, which, I can see fairly feasible. Why not? And as we go up, more and more likely, and obviously spots number 1 and 2 are, or 3 even, and below that are going to be champions that I think are going to be no-brainers, that are very much so worth it to use that Awakening gem on, and it's worth purchasing that offer for. So we're going to start with spot number 10. I think Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye now is already somehow slightly underrated champion, but I do think he's a really good champion for quite a lot of content. He has become a lot of people's favorite very quickly, and I can easily see giving that Romance Awakening gem to him. But for now, I gave him the spot 10, and the other champion that I would maybe swap it out instead of Hawkeye would have been Vision Age of Ultron, because I do think with the solo competitive game mode coming, importance of Vision Age of Ultron is going to be increased quite significantly, and it could be very much so worth keeping an eye on this guy as well. But those are kind of split spot 10. Going on spot number 9, I think it's Icarus. I do think that Icarus is better than many people think he is, but he definitely does have to be awakened to get the best out of him in kind of specific matchups. So I do think that Icarus would be well worth a Romance Awakening gem as well. And on top of that, he's extremely fun character to play with. One of my personal recent favorites in terms of my game enjoyment. Spot number 8, I'm going to give it to Colossus. I think Colossus is perfectly capable unawakened, but obviously he does get significantly better if he's awakened, because you do better job building up armor ups, and that just increases your damage and makes everything else work better. So at spot number 8, I think if you do have unawakened Colossus and you're pondering whether to rank him up awakened or unawakened, well, it's a perfect chance for you to awaken this guy. Now we're going to move on to spot number 7, I believe. I have put on Neymar. Now with Neymar, there are a couple of disclaimers. It is absolutely not worth awakening Neymar if you cannot commit to giving Neymar a lot of signature stones. Or it doesn't have to be that you immediately are able to take him to Sig 200, but you need to commit to take him up there. There is no purpose of awakening Neymar if you think you're going to give him 86 stones and leave him there. That's absolutely you wasted 6 stones. Neymar obviously has amazing prestige if you're interested in that, but other than that, even prestige with the side, I do think there is a value in character, especially when you do get him to Sig 200, and Neymar is indeed in that list of champions. Now next up, 6th place is Null. Now, I do think that Null is perfectly capable unawakened, but obviously if you do awaken him, then you do get additional benefits. For instance, that unstoppable and unblockable buff. It doesn't seem like a big deal, unstoppable and unblockable for 2 seconds whenever corruption would activate, but it actually has come in clutch in quite a lot of situations, plus the fact that you already get to start fight with some debuffs active based on your signature level. And also the fact that you can turn opponents' regens into degens at certain health bar thresholds. I do think it's well worth the awakening, and his prestige is also quite decent. So Null is definitely another champion. It would be well worth to use that awakening gem on. Moving on, spot number 5, and every single one of these top 5 champions, I think, is pretty much a no-brainer. If you like any of these champions, if you have any of these champions unawakened, I would do my utmost best to pick up that awakening gem. It's quite as simple as that. think every single one of the top 5 champions that are listed here needs to be awakened. I think every single one of them deserve to be awakened. I actually did the small mishap. I think, yeah. Top 5 was meant to be Angela, sorry. Spoiled the list a bit. But top 5 is Angela, and Angela is obviously a crazy good buff example of how small changes can massively impact a character. And in the 5th spot, I am putting in Angela. You do need to get her to a relatively decently high sig or run her with Odin. I think my own Angela is only about 660, so I definitely have ways to go. But I definitely am very happy that I have taken my Angela all the way up to rank 3. I think she's a great champion. I think there's a lot of potential uses. And again, if you haven't unawakened Angela, I do recommend getting her up and getting her awakened with that romance gem. Spot number 4, as I mentioned before, is Tigra. Now, for quite a while, a lot of people used to like saying that Tigra doesn't really have to be awakened, but she really does. There is a massive difference in how the fight is going to go in pretty much everywhere except like Abyss or Labyrinth of Legends, which again is very minimal statistical amount of time. Normally, you're going to be using her in War or Alliance Quest or story content, and then it really does change the champion. If you do have Tigra awakened and at a feasible sig, you can just build to level 2 and finish off the fight. And it's much quicker and much easier. If you do not have her awakened, you need to either drop 2 level 1s or a level 3, and only then you can kind of get going and have the damage going. So I do personally believe that Tigra has to be awakened. I do personally believe that she has to be a decent sig. And I do think she is an absolutely amazing pick for this Romance Awakening gem. Especially, obviously, if you are already experienced using 5-star Tigra or something like that. Do not rank Tigra or awaken her if you do not know how to play her and are not willing to commit to learn. And top 3 spots now. Top 3 spots. The best use of that Awakening gem, obviously, is Archangel. Archangel is phenomenal champion, one of the oldies but goldies, absolute classic of the contest, and still as dominant as ever. In fact, Archangel had a very interesting curvature in terms of his use, because as soon as Archangel came out, he was extremely popular. Then for about a year or 2, his usability and presence in the contest dipped, but ever since then, he has just climbed all the way to the very, very top. If opponent bleeds and can be poisoned, this is often the best answer for the problem. And just that simple fact that he's the best answer keeps him around, keeps him popular. People use him in Alliance War, people use him to escape a ton of troublesome situations. Well worth the Awakening gem, and that Awakened ability is extremely clutch as well, obviously reducing opponent's ability accuracy and completely shutting down all of their healing. One of the best uses of generic Awakening gem in the game, let alone some Romance Awakening gem that has a limited pool. Therefore, 100% if you have unawakened Archangel, get that Awakening gem offer. Moving on, Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde is one of the more dominant newcomers in the contest. I think she is a great champion, unawakened, but obviously awakened, she becomes even better. The big 2 things that you get from her awakened ability is, number 1, that you go from not taking 80% less damage whilst you're phased to taking no damage whilst you're phased. And that is important, because with that you can tank level 3s and bypass a lot of damage over time effects. And if you are up against very potent opponent effects, then even taking 20% will often be able to KO you or do a significant amount of damage. With this, obviously, there's 0 risk, you're taking no damage. The second one is that if you get hit whilst you're phased, you have significantly increased combat power rate, and this opens doors to incredible amount of cheese fights, where you basically get hit on purpose whilst phasing, and you can infinitely spam level 3s and do a whole bunch of different things. And the last one is need to have. You have a chance to retrigger your Incinerates, and, you know, that's just an optional extra, but definitely amazing champion to awaken, well worth the generic. A champion that I used my generic Awakening gem on. That, you know, is as big of a prize as I can give to a champion. And in spot number 1, I'm going to be putting Hercules. Why? Because obviously Hercules is another absolute domination machine in the contest. Top 5 prestige, so if you're prestige interested, he is up there. And he's a champion that is, again, well worth the generic awakening gem. He's the champion that I personally used the cosmic awakening gem, and I was glad to do so. Super high prestige, super awesome and useful signature ability. Signature ability that I rely on pretty much every single day in Alliance Quest. And it's just that good. It's just that good. The fact that you can extend that immortality to like 20 seconds, 25 seconds, and with that super high damage output that Hercules has, you can absolutely nuke down all of your opponents. He's an amazing champion, and he's, again, one of the top 5 champions in a game that is well worth the generic awakening gem, in my opinion. So these are the champions that I personally recommend using this Romance Awakening gem on. And if you have any of these champions already unawakened, then I also definitely recommend picking up that offer. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya! Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about